Hi, Conan at Project Music here, and today I'm joined by Steve Marks from Blackstar Amplification. So I've got Steve in today, or I say I've got him in. He has come in kindly to chat to us about some new stuff from Blackstar.
Yeah, indeed.
So we've got the TV series amplifiers. We've got two of them here, one over here and one over here. We've got the A and the B. The A and the B, Steve, tell us, what are the differences and what are the TV series all about?
So yeah, the TV10 amplifiers. These are single-ended Class A combos. That means they have a single-ended preamp tube and a single power amp tube as well. That's the main difference between the two. The TV10A is more of an American style tone. So there's a 6L6 in the power amp. The TV10B is more of a British feel, a traditional British sound, and that's an EL34. They both share the same preamp tube though, which is a 12AX7, or more commonly known over here in the UK as the ECC83.
Cool, fantastic. So that kind of gives us the baseline of their tonal differences, I suppose. Into your ears, going from the American to the British thing, if you were to kind of put it in, I suppose, the most straightforward terms, what would you describe that difference as?
I guess I would reference players, styles, maybe. And also guitars as well. You know, if I was playing through the TV10B, which is a gorgeous British tone, I would be referencing early Clapton, Kossoff, some great humbucker tones, although single coil is going to sound great through there too, of course, but it's got a lot more edge to the sound. It clips earlier, almost to the point of a fuzz tone, which is really great for more modern sort of guitar players that are using that vibe with a rolled off tone and playing slide, etc.
Cool.
With the TV10A, if I was using a Strat or a Telecaster, I'd be really at home in that amplifier. It's got the sparkle and the vibe of an American sound, very glassy, using a 6L6 of course. So it depends on the player, but you can equally get great clean and you can get great overdrives in here. They both have a boost circuit in there. So the simple control of the layout is an input gain or input volume, single tone control, so it's a case of finding your sweet spot. On that, all the way counterclockwise will be more of a bassier tone, all the way clockwise will be more of a top end treble presence to the sound. We have reverb in there as well, and also a master volume, a standby switch, an effects loop, emulated out. So some modern features under the hood as well.
Yeah, which I think is a fantastic thing. Like, we've had the TV10A here for a little bit, so we've kind of got to know it. And tonally, it's absolutely fantastic. And what I love about it is the kind of being able to dial in some big, lovely, lush tones at quite low volumes. And I think you guys have really nailed that within, you know, within a valve amp that we all kind of covet that sound.
Yeah.
But as we've all experienced, it's quite hard to get that from anything, even the lower wattage ones, but somehow I think it's using the master and the drive side of things that you could, the gain side, you can dial it in so nicely, and it seems to work. Like you say, there's a sweet spot with maybe single coils and stuff with that one somehow, and P90 seem to love that amp like big time. However, we've plugged everything through it and there's never been one I've gone, oh, no, it's not the right amp for this. Which sometimes you do, don't you? You plug in an amp, you get, I'm not quite getting the thing I was thinking for this customer or whatever it might be.
Of course.
Whereas that one has been consistently oh no, we'll plug you into this because it's going to sound good. Do you want a bit of overdrive? It's got it. Do you want a really lovely clean? It's got it. Has it got reverb? Yes, it does. And is the reverb good? It's fantastic. So we've been so impressed with this. So actually it's going to be great to be able to compare it to that and see, you know, if it's the same sort of level of tonal joy, shall we say, but just in that more, I guess if we're talking British, it's more that orangey, Marshall-y, all of that sort of stuff, isn't it?
You got it, yeah. So I mean,
edging that way.
You know, to be very honest with your customers, yourself, I'm always pretty upfront about things with Blackstar, and we always reference other amplifiers at Blackstar. We don't copy, we don't get a design, tweak it and make it our own, and we don't make it exactly the same, but we're always referencing amplifiers. And certainly for the TV10A, we were looking at some fantastic amps from the likes of Fender, the Princeton, things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously the Blues Junior is a huge product globally.
Of course, yeah.
So this is where that sort of amplifier fits for your customer. It's low wattage. For the savvy out there, you might look at these and think they look very similar to the old Studio 10s. It's the same chassis, but internally all the components, and it's completely different, and it's a redesign. The reverb is completely different as well, which is important. I think the reverb on these is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, we're a big fan of the reverb on them.
They take pedals really well, and they're perfect for home and studio, really.
Yeah, I think that's what we found with them, is that it seemed to be whatever we were using them for, they just worked. And what was also nice is when you did give it the beans, even though it was only a 10 watter, it didn't seem to worry too much about it. You know, it seemed to handle itself quite well, which some don't, you know, as we know, tend to. So.
And also, you know, these days you might see artists and guitar players performing on the likes of smaller TV shows with smaller combos. Yeah. For example, you know, Jules Holland, you know, you're going to get some great guitar players on there. This would be well up for that. Yeah. It's not just a studio and a home amp. You could use it live. Yeah. Part of that story with these products is the emulated line out. And it's quite unusual. Not many people realise this. They kind of miss the fact. But the emulated out on these TV10A and TV10B is post power amp. So if you were to put the amplifier into standby, you're going to get a lot more juice and a lot more saturation out of the master volume. So if you're using headphones or going direct into a PA or a DI box, you can really push these amplifiers into a level where it sounds like they're about to fall off the edge of a cliff in a good way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. And I think with the, I just want to make sure I get this right with the emulated out and the headphones out. In theory, when you plug into the headphones out, do you just switch it on to standby? And you basically just get a silent speaker, everything comes through there.
You got it. So silent speaker, everything comes out the emulated out, or you can use the speaker active, as well as the emulated out simultaneously.
See, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. So if you are using IEMs or you've got a good wedge in front of you or in a really good system, these amps are more than giggable. But the aim is a home studio amp. You know, due to their size.
Yeah, and I think that makes complete sense. And I think we speak to a lot of customers, local guys or whatever, who they need something that kind of does everything, because they don't want to have 3-4 different amplifiers for each thing. You know, if you're lucky enough to have a studio space where you can have that, fantastic, but that's not everyone's reality. So having an amplifier that does feel at home in all of those situations is brilliant, because the Blues Junior is very good at that for the most part. But it does have its caveats in that I find it, I can't quite dial it in at the really low volumes quite as well as one of these, for at least the sound I like. Of course, this is all personal preferences. Some people can do what they need. But I found more consistently when I want to just quickly try a guitar out in the shop and I don't want it to be too loud and I want to get the sounds I like, I'm normally plugging into that, because it makes me go, oh, yeah, there it is, and I'm dialing in for 10 seconds rather than anything else.
It's super important for us at Blackstar that, you know, we've got one of the largest R&D teams in the amplifier world. That's a fact, and it's super important for our gear to sound great at low volume as it is when it's pushed. So I'm glad you said that, because at low volumes, if you are worried about that sort of thing and you want to be performing with this amp at home or recording late at night into the early hours, you can absolutely, using the emulated out into standby. No one else in the home will hear it apart from what's going to your cans or what's going to your interface or your DAW, or in an environment where you do want to hear it and you don't want to use headphones, just bring the master volume down and push that preamp, and you're going to get all that great tone without pushing any level. So
it's fantastic, and also it's foot switchable, isn't it? So you can go between the kind of the clean and the gain and the reverb foot switchable as well?
Yeah, so the foot switch that comes supplied is a single latching foot switch. That will switch between the clean and the boost circuit.
Cool, yeah.
You can use a dual latching foot switch with a TRS cable, which will then give you channel or boost and reverb.
Cool.
So that's an option for you as well. One thing I must point out, which is really important, if you are using it to go direct to a PA, you must use a TRS cable. If you use a mono jack, like a standard guitar jack, and you plug it into the emulated out, you won't get any sound, because it's stereo for headphones, therefore stereo for line out. So you could, in fact, go stereo TRS into 2 mono and split pan. Happy days.
Okay, that's cool. I hadn't even thought about that. No, that's fantastic. And I think having such a mad feature set really on such a great sounding amp at what they 599 for something like that, and also not just sticking with the TV-A, having one voice and things like that, because we all have our things that we love, and there's certain amplifiers that we love to go through, and giving the option there of obviously, arguably pointing and tipping hats to the two most popular and famous guitar sounds in the world, and all the ones that, and I guess that's probably why you guys reference them, is because they're the sounds that you guys have grown up with and listened to.
Yeah, they're the sounds of rock and roll.
Yeah, so I think, I think they're absolutely fantastic.
So for anybody in that American camp, you want to be TV10A. Anybody in that British Vox Orange Marshall thing, you want to be this side, just check them out. They sound killer.
Fantastic. Well, what we'll do now is I'm going to get out of the way. We're going to turn the amps on, and we're going to let Steve just demonstrate with a couple of different guitars, a few different sounds. We'll just see what we can come up with and listen to a bit of a comparison between A and B in the TV10 series. So let's get to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there we have some really amazing tones from both amps, I think, and also both amps at the same time, which we had thought we had a bit of fun with at the end.
Yeah, stereo because we could.
Yeah,
right.
It was definitely that, and it was because we had this old. Don't want to call it a relic. It's not really a relic.
It
but
kind of is a relic, mate. Yeah.
It's it's actually fantastic. We haven't played one of these for a long time because we didn't have the correct power supply. They were an old power supply, but man, did that sound good. That sounded really cool.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's not often you get to play in stereo, but these two amps are made for it, really, and having that on hand. Vintage Blackstar HT Delay with a preamp valve in there, and you can really saturate that as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Perfect for that sound.
It was spot on, yeah, it sounded really, really cool. Yeah, and that was definitely a because we can situation. But I think overall, you could hear straight away the tonal differences between those two amps. I was saying to you sort of, I think in between one of the takes, the B just has that, it's the low end kind of, I don't know.
It's almost like a growl.
A growl, that's the perfect word for it.
Yeah.
The low end growl, and I think it's one of those things, there's not a right answer here, which one is better.
If you're struggling to choose, have both.
Have both, that's it, and run them in stereo via an old Blackstar valve there. I think they're both fantastic, and I think because I've already got a Fendery style amp, I think if I was to choose one right now, it would probably be the B because it covers something that I don't have already.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I had to come into it, oh man, that would be hard because the feature set on them is brilliant. I was just saying to you as well off camera that having the emulated out with the headphones, things like that, if you just need a quiet solution, but then 5 minutes later you're like, oh actually I've got a bit, it's all in one box. It's not like, oh I've got to plug this in, I've got to plug this in.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. And I think it's just having to try and decide between, like if you, do you say you've got a favourite of the two, or are you very much?
I think because of the style of music I play, I'd probably go with the TV10A.
Okay, yep.
But that is gorgeous as well. It's definitely got a place. Yeah. So it's a real tough one. The price is great on these. I'd probably buy both, honestly, so I could tick the box of each sound.
Depending on maybe what gig you're playing or whatever, you can take both, or if you're lucky, you can do the stereo thing and run it that way. No, I think you guys have done a fantastic job with them because it's always difficult to release amps into a world that is so saturated with so much stuff.
Yeah,
and I think you guys have done a great job of still harking to the stuff that we all know and love. You know, I know that we all have kind of guitar sounds in our heads from the early days of us playing guitar, and of course the more modern stuff. But somehow, most people I know anyway in the guitar world, they might have gone off into the very modern, different style of high gain, for example. Yeah. But a lot of them end up kind of coming back a little bit to hot rodded Marshalls, all that kind of thing. Yeah. Which that does, but then also it does all the other stuff.
Yeah, you're going to work with a lot of producers if you're in the studio and you're recording and you're a musician and a writer. You're going to work with a lot of producers that are going to use vintage amps galore. Yeah. They're going to use plugins. The world we live in right now has never been better for guitar players. There's so much amazing gear. This is just harking back to that vintage 10-watt single-ended amp. If that's your thing, give Project Music a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can give us a shout. We've actually currently got one of these in stock, so that's a pretty quick one for us, and we can get the B as well. So give us a shout. Obviously, we'll try and do some more comparison videos. We'll do some more stuff with Steve too on some of the other fantastic Blackstar stuff, like St James. We've got
amps as well.
The amped stuff as well. So 100 watts of amped goodness in a tiny pedalboard friendly thing as well. So we'll look at that sort of thing, and have a little look at the rest of our videos as well, and make sure you subscribe because that helps us out and helps get Project Music in front of a few more eyes and things like that. And we'll do some more videos like this stuff in the future. So thank you very much for watching, and go and try some of the TV stuff. They are fantastic.